Please welcome Brownstone.
What up guys, it's your boy Ali and welcome to Hip Hop Forever. In the days when R&B was all over the place, you could never name artists popular and effective in the genre without mentioning the American female R&B group Brownstone. The trio was popular in the mid-90s, and if you were in that time of the world, you couldn't miss these MJ protégées. They captivated everyone with their soulful voices, and the fact that they were affiliated with MJ made it hard to overlook them. Brownstone had their first major break and massive success with the hit single If You Love Me. Brownstone was born in the city of Los Angeles, and the group members consist of Monica Doby, also known as Mimi, Charmaine Maxwell, known as Maxi, and Nicole Gilbert, also referred to as Nikki. Still in the search for a record contract, they were said to be everywhere, from one boardroom audition to another. They kept the momentum going until they somehow struck gold.
Well, we were here in LA. They came here. I grew up here, and we were singing around town, doing auditions, trying to sing background, doing cruise ships, whatever to get heard. And we just heard each other and loved how we sounded, and we decided to put the group together.
In one particular boardroom audition in the early 90s, they found themselves, shockingly enough, in front of the king of pop. The room was pitch black at the time, they didn't know Michael Jackson was in the room, and had no choice but to perform without the lights on. Immediately, they launched into a stunning a cappella number that left Michael Jackson spellbound. He declared their harmony something out of this world, and from that moment on, the group finally got what they had been searching for, which was a record deal. Yeah, we auditioned for him. We met Jerry Greenberg first. I can't tell the full story because we are doing a book. That's going to be exciting. The short story is that we met Jerry Greenberg. We auditioned for him, and he said he had someone else that he wanted us to meet. At the time, we did not know who it was. We auditioned for a second time in a pitch black conference room. After the second audition was over, we discovered that Michael was there. Of course, we were extremely excited. Later on, we were told that Michael fell in love with us and wanted us to be the first artists signed to his record label. Not only did they get what they've always wanted, but they also got the chance to work with one of the biggest artists of all time. Over the years, Brownstone has released less and less music. In fact, till date, they only have a couple of albums to their name. So the question is, what happened to Brownstone? What are the members of the group doing now? And why did the group split up? Let's dig in and find out.
Hi! You will not hurt my pride if right now you decide that you are not ready to settle down. But if you want my heart, then it's time that you start to act like you're mine in the light and the dark.
Now, after signing with Michael's MJJ Music, it was finally time to show and prove. Confident in their work, the group released a single titled Pass the Lovin'. However, despite displaying great vocal prowess, the group's first single got off to a disappointing start. After their first single didn't perform so well, the group went straight right back to the drawing board and eventually came out with another single titled If You Love Me. The song was everything they needed. It blew up successfully on Impact, both on the home charts and internationally. Side note, for those of you who weren't alive when this song came out, in case you're wondering why If You Love Me sounds so familiar, Tory Lanez sampled the track and released a song called Say It. Now, after they achieved a lot of success with this single, it was finally time for them to release their first album. And they did just that, releasing an album titled From the Bottom Up. The album was released by Epic Records and Michael Jackson's MJJ Music, and with a strong strategic push of the album, it made it to the US Billboard Top 200. It initially entered at number 48 and later peaked at number 29 3 months after its release. The album was a late bloomer. When it peaked at number 29, it stayed on the charts for the better part of a year, which amounted to about 37 consecutive weeks. Sales of the album didn't stop growing. It kept amassing. It grew so big that it was certified platinum in the same year. In my opinion, Brownstone is the type of group that makes people say they don't make music like this anymore. On songs such as If You Love Me, their vocals and harmony work extremely well. And unlike a lot of songs nowadays, it's uplifting and has a positive message. When the album came out, the trio continued to enjoy widespread positive reviews and acceptance of their debut album. It was indeed not a small noise. They did a sold-out tour for the album that same year of its release. However, inevitably, the group experienced the first crack in their walls. One of the members of the group, Monica Mimi Doby, left the group immediately after the tour and at the peak of their success as a group. At the time, people wondered why Mimi left the group. Did she have issues with the other members of the group? Did she have problems with management or the label? People wanted to know. Initially, it was reported that Mimi came under bronchitis, an inflammation of the mucous membrane in the bronchial tubes. Mimi was quickly replaced by Kina Kasper, who was a college friend of the group's lead singer, Nicole Gilbert. Eventually, during an interview, the true reason for Mimi leaving the group was revealed. It was a result of a disagreement with the other members of the group, which was common amongst most female groups at the time, which eventually leads to a breakup. At the time, Mimi's exit didn't seem to have shaken the group, and they seemed confident that they would persevere without her. It appears they nor their fans expected what was going to hit them. About 2 years after their debut single and album came out, it was time for Brownstone to release another album. Towards the late 90s, they came up with a single titled 5 Mile to Empty, which went on to be a very mild success in comparison with their initial offering. The single, which was released by MJJ Music and Work Group and crested at number 39 on the US Billboard 200. The song did better on the Hot R&B Singles chart and was spotted at number 6. In order to properly promote their upcoming album and keep their buzz going, they released another single titled Kiss and Tell. Evidently, the song was a massive flop. Now, in my opinion, one reason why the group's second single didn't do well is because of the new addition to the group. When this album came out, Mimi was no longer in the group. Now, this whole situation reminds me of the 3LW drama. As we all know by now, Naturi left the group because of colorism issues and the conflict with her group members and management. After Naturi left the group, 3LW operated as a duo for a while. However, when that didn't work, they tried to get a third member to replace Naturi. The only problem with this is, most fans do not like change. When an artist in a group gets replaced by another, it almost feels inauthentic. In essence, Kina Kasper was an okay addition to the group, but she was not Mimi. Unfazed by the preceding discouragement, they released their second studio album titled Still Climbing. The album climbed its way to the US Billboard charts and made its way to number 51. Evidently, their second album didn't live up to the hype and expectations, and eventually they began to filter away slowly as a group. Their new lineup broke up again, and there was a repeat of the last time. Kina Kasper left immediately afterwards, and everybody else decided to do their own thing. Kina tried to go solo. Nicole Gilbert tried her hands in the movie and entertainment industry for a while and was successful in that world. In fact, she was responsible for creating the BET series From the Bottom Up and TV One's docu-franchise R&B Divas. She also dropped an album called Grown Folk Music around 2005, but it failed to make noise in the US. Charmaine Maxwell pursued a solo career after the group's disbandment. Her solo debut single did fairly, but the follow-up didn't do as well. Sadly, it seemed like her musical career had a huge dent without being in the group. Now, around 2007, Brownstone minus Mimi reunited. However, instead of reintroducing Mimi into the group, Raquel Roberts took her place. With the introduction of Raquel, it looked like Brownstone was about to drop a new album, but nothing materialized. Raquel left the group about a year later. Around 2008, Tisha Brown was added to the group, making them a trio once more. Sadly, they still weren't able to release another album. Now, around 2015, ex-Brownstone member Charmaine Maxwell, also known as Maxi, was found almost dead in her home. Her husband and record producer, Karsten Shack, came home around 9 p.m. to find his wife bleeding profusely from the side of her neck. Quickly, he called 911, and by the time the paramedics got here, she had lost so much blood and didn't make it in the rush to save her life. The police department announced that the cause of her death was a result of a deep cut on her neck by a broken wine glass. According to reports, Charmaine fell on a broken wine glass, giving her 2 puncture wounds in the back of her neck, resulting in her passing. An account from a family friend said she had gone for her 11-year-old son's soccer game and was with him alone in the house, only for her husband to come home in the evening to find her in a thick pool of her own blood. Moving on. Now the question is, what did Mimi do after Brownstone broke up? Unlike Nicole Gilbert and Charmaine Maxwell, Mimi went bleak in the public eye, and for a while, nobody saw her or heard from her again. The other two were very much in the public eye, even after their final disbandment. The question arose after a long time, where is Mimi? Big time digging revealed that Mimi chose a different path entirely from the glitz and the glam. She became a high school teacher. Apparently, she has been teaching in Los Angeles Unified School District for nearly 2 years. In 2019, the Brownstone sisters, for the first time in a very long while, came together to commemorate 25 years since the release of From the Bottom Up. Nicole Gilbert asserted that the group had always been about girl power and assuring other women that ladies can get along. Now, the group seeks to continue the legacy that they gave birth to under a new name, the Brownstone Experience. The group, which was originally a trio, is now a quartet, and they don't seem to leave it as a small group anymore.
Sang lead on a lot of songs that the group did. Maxi is another member. Keena is another member. Mimi is another member. Raquel is another member. Tisha is another member. And your mama might be a member of Brownstone too. If you dig deep enough, you might. No, I'm just kidding. Brownstone is an ever-changing entity.
Brownstone is known as a 3-member group. And now you see, of course, there are 4 women here today. What we are doing is pushing the envelope, putting our millennial caps on and rebranding. As the group has grown and our legacy has continued, what we are doing is introducing the Brownstone Experience. And what that is just women who are incredibly talented coming together in harmony. We are introducing Miss Erin Jackson to our experience. At the time of the reunion, Tisha Brown was already part of the Brownstone sisters, and they revealed that soon enough, they'll be bringing Miss Erin Jackson to be a part of the experience. The whole idea now is more than just 3 women singing, but as many women united by one experience, singing on stage. It appears Brownstone is still making music together. According to Nicole, the group has been on the road ever since they reunited and are planning to drop something very soon. Absolutely, that is the one thing that we are able to do during this quarantine. So we've been writing, and I'm actually going to start recording in my home studio. Start getting it in. We've been on the road touring. We did Essence Fest last year. We've kind of been on the road ever since. We were supposed to do the Tom Joyner cruise, but we see where that ended. We were also supposed to tour over the summer, so it's kind of a bummer. But we're going to continue to make music, so you should absolutely expect new music from Brownstone. Brownstone gets about 500,000 views on Spotify per month, and their most popular songs on the platform are If You Love Me and Grapevine. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that Brownstone released a compilation album around the year 2000 called All for Love. That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Brownstone in your opinion? Let me know down below. If you have any video requests, be sure to let me know down below. Add me on Instagram, that's hiphopforever 3 R's. Till next time, peace.